Happy Frigaroken! It's Rainbow. We're back on this beautiful, chilly Friday. I think it's about 40 degrees colder today than it was yesterday, so kind of chilly. So we're here. We're here with our coffee. Yes. And we are here continuing our journey. And I was thinking about this and being like, this journey is kind of going boing, 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 kind of going all over the place. And I have this inner bark from that honeysuckle from last week. And one of the things, you can see I can just taking like about a ½ inch of it and just splicing it down. And I was thinking of an analogy for kind of like this journey. And it really got me thinking about weaving. So, one of the things that it almost feels like this journey so far, it's like we're stringing the warp on a loom. And so the warp strands, they all go, what is that? They all go this way, up and down. And those strands, you always string the warp first on a loom. And you have those strands under tension. And then the weft goes the opposite direction. And so the warp kind of has these strands, a bunch of different strands that are not connected. Those warp strands are not connected. Well, technically. And, or technically they are, but for this metaphor, we're going to say that they're not connected. So it kind of feels like the journey, where it's these different concepts, like the sculpture Pussy Willow Potential, and then the hot pads, and then the Witness to Injustice blanket exercise. And then we're outside looking for inspiration from nature. And then we're in Bipa, Beecher Hill, Homegrown National Park. And so it's like all these different strands, right? And it's, the analogy for me was starting to go, okay, so how are these all connected? How do these strands connect? And in my mind, everything connects. Everything connects. So, here we have a bunch of different strands, right? So that is like our warp. And then when we put the weft in, we go under, over, under, over, under, over, and we're connecting all those separate strands to make anything something. So this Friday, this friga roken, we are spinning up some connections for our concepts here. And I'm also spinning up what I want to do tomorrow. So I have family in town again. It's the big crew from Alaska. And what I hear is that it is going to be a Beecher Hill Homegrown National Park Day tomorrow. So I'm really excited to see what we're going to spin up tomorrow as far as playing in the national park. So we have our strands here. Here is our warp. Here we have a little bit of Pussy Willow potential, a little bit of Witness to Injustice blanket exercise, a little bit of Tahir and Hiawatha and Connection, that slow fiber project, my 10-year hair project. That was just a study on how close to home I could grow my own fiber. We have a very important one here, and that's like being out in nature where creation is everywhere around us and co-creation is our delight. This is part of that co-creation with Mother Earth. And we start like spinning those concepts together. I didn't even count if I have I'm supposed to have an odd number if this works right. So under, over, under, over, and then that strand actually weaves back around, goes back under, and then it goes over. Oh, got a little tight there. It's interesting trying to hold this up for you while I weave it. And that one goes under, over. So when this analogy came to me, I started thinking of it as like a spider web. And it's like the warp of a spider web would be those strands that go out. And then the weft would be that spiral that connects all those strands going out. I don't know if that makes sense to you or not. It does in my mind, but I have a structural weaving mind, I guess. Oh, I see I did a little double. Under, over. Right here, I blooped it a little bit. But can you see that pattern starting to weave? So this is just a little hands-on demonstration of kind of understanding like how this journey takes so many different strands, but then also brings it back together and how they're all connected. And this honeysuckle, oh, it's delicious to play with. I'm excited for the day where I can play a lot more with the honeysuckle. because it really is, it's fun to take something that's in quote unquote invasive and soften that relationship and see the beauty in it and not just look at it in a harsh way like I want to destroy you. I can actually play with you and you're amazing, and it's time for you to transition on the land so more native plants can grow, so we can have a lot more diversity. What we're missing here in Baipa Beecher Hill is diversity. And the important thing about having diversity in plants is then different caterpillars are growing. I think I've figured out I'm a caterpillar farmer. The essentialness for having these different caterpillars is that the birds need caterpillars so bad. So they need caterpillars to feed their little chicks. And in order for the birds to survive, diversity has to thrive. So we are weaving up our journey. Up here, this here, oh. So this was a gift to me from, oh my gosh, an old college roommate of mine. And she gifted it to me after we did Big Time at Humboldt State University, which is a Native American celebration. And her family came to be a part of the celebration. And I was gifted all this. This is redwood bark. It's really thick redwood bark. And then they splice it down to millimeters, like cellular structure. It's so amazing, and it's been just a treasure of a gift that I travel with. And several years ago, I took a class and I made a berry basket. A woman was teaching, she was a 5th generation basket weaver, and she was teaching berry baskets made out of the redwood bark. So a little dip in, a little weaving, a little explanation of the warp, a little explanation of the wefting, connecting everything together, and of course, a little coffee. Huge gratitude, huge love. Ciao, ciao.